Hi everybody. I thought I would send out an announcement at the beginning of this week because it is going to be a big week for us. We are wrapping up the unit on literary analysis, and so I wanted to throw some things out there for you that might help you to have a more successful paper at the end of the week. All right, so as a reminder, I am posting two announcements occasionally in the middle of the week, say Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday, in order to give you some feedback on the work that I'm seeing produced. That is designed to help to clarify any points if I see a few people are kind of misled on something, to kind of pull you back to where I want you to be. So there is some information in those videos that I don't want you to miss. So make sure that you are watching those and watching announcements. Now, you will need to go into your course content link from the menu, and I do have some other things kind of open here just because I'm shooting this video a little bit early, so pardon that. But you will notice that I do keep open the other things that were designed to help you, like the supplemental links. Now, the assignment links close, that's why those are grayed out, but all of these other links are still open for you so that you can look back over them in case you have missed anything of value that might help you for your paper that you are writing. So you'll need to scroll down after you get into the Module 1 folder in order to get to the Week 3 task list. Okay, so this is what we're doing this week. And we're going to read a couple of more stories because they're going to help give us another wide variety of things to choose from for the essay. I know some of you might be more interested in contemporary literature rather than classic literature, or you might be more interested in female authors instead of male authors, or you might be interested in exploring something that came from a different culture rather than one you are very familiar with. So there's a wide variety of things that have been hand-picked for you from this text. The first one you are going to read is Hunters in the Snow, and notice that is in the setting chapter for a reason, so read that carefully. Now, when you read the entire chapter surrounding these stories, make sure that you are reading all the way through those kind of blue-green pages because they have some great tips for you in improving the style of your writing, as well as some things for you to think about that will allow you to dig a little bit more deeply into the text rather than just looking at the surface level of the story or the summary, and give you some things to think about in order to process and really as I said, dig a little bit deeper on the content of the story so that you can really analyze the work with your own unique perspective, okay? So the questions at the end of these stories are always designed to help you to think outside of the box, okay? Or to lead you to meaning for the story. Hunters in the Snow. This forum is a post-first forum, so remember that when you first go and post your discussion, you won't be able to see anyone else's, but you do need to go back into the forum and reply to at least 2 others in order to get full credit on the forum. Some of you are missing points just because you're not responding to one another. And that's really the way that we get the most out of this medium. And it's more like what we would see of value from our own classes, because we get to discuss things and hear other people's ideas, and that helps us to process and gives us a bigger view of a text. So please read and respond to at least 2 others on all forums, unless it says you don't have to do that this time, okay? I do have chapter 3 for you to read. It's all about argument that will really help you to process what I was going for on making a claim, you know, having an opinion about the text. And it really talks about argument extensively because I want you to keep in mind that everything you write in this class is argument, okay? Pretty much anything you ever write is going to be argument, unless maybe it's like a nice letter to grandma, okay? But argument is simply stating your claim and then supporting it. Okay, so that chapter about argument is really going to help you to validate your ideas and know how to flesh out your ideas and develop your ideas well in your essay. So that's chapter 3, and Hunters in the Snow is a part of chapter 10. Chapter 11 is another story called A Good Man is Hard to Find. And I would like for you to read all of chapter 11 as well, because it talks about theme. And I want you to have affirmation about how to write theme, not just for this forum here, but for writing your analysis essay. Because remember, no matter what approach you ever choose in analyzing literature, it's all about arriving at theme or explaining to someone else your interpretation of a story or how you are viewing the story. What is the insight into life that this work is revealing? So chapter 11 is going to be more about theme, and that's an interesting story to explore for that. Okay? Now, I want you to also start thinking about your analysis essay. There is a graphic organizer here that will help you if you are a very visually oriented person and you want to kind of put an idea down and then see how you're going to develop it in different ways and make sure you have enough evidence. That graphic organizer will be great for you. Everybody, please make sure that you look at quoting literature, what the rules are. You will miss point on this paper if you don't quote your story correctly according to MLA style. So you're going to be putting quote marks around anything, that you take exactly word for word from the story. But at this level, you shouldn't just be kind of like chunking whole sentences into your paper that you're quoting. Sometimes you're going to use a lead in because you want a good variety of sentence structures in your essay at this point. So if you use a lead or a signal phrase, or if you use a lead-in just to kind of set up your idea before you get to the words from the story that you want to use. And it shows you how to do all of that. So if you don't have your quote marks in the right place, if you don't have your page number in parentheses, if you don't have the period outside of the page numbers parentheses, then those will be points off on this essay. And this attachment tells you all about it, how to do it correctly. So make sure that you read that very carefully and apply what it's talking about to your own essay. The next attachment is writing instruction and writing with power, because many of you know how to write or you wouldn't be in Comp 2, right? But we're raising the level in Comp 2. This is where writing gets just a little bit more difficult, okay? Because we are really thinking critically about a text and writing analytically, and it requires for us to write about those thoughts in an intelligent manner. And so we want to try to start breaking free from some of the old habits that we have maybe left over from Composition 1 class or some of the other writing that we have done. And so this PowerPoint is all about giving you ideas on how to improve your style, how to go through just the basic sentence level issues all the way to having just kind of more well-rounded thoughts in your paper. So remember that if I cover it in instruction, I'm going to be really looking for that in your paper. So if you have a sentence in your essay that says, I think, or I feel, it's my opinion that, then I'm going to go, nope, that was in the instruction that I gave you in this unit. So you missed points for that, okay? So apply all of this instruction that you're getting. All right, so taking all of that into consideration, you are going to be answering the critical questions at the end of chapter 6 for A Good Man is Hard to Find. Now, I do want you to number, just like the book numbers those items. Don't use just paragraphs on that, but double space it so I can go in and add comments for you in the middle of your writing. That might help you, because this is a way for me to start seeing, are you interpreting correctly what the atmosphere is? you're applying terms that we've been going over in this unit, for example, or if you are interpreting correctly what the narrative point of view or narrative perspective is, that kind of thing. So this will help me to see if you're understanding those terms and if I need to clarify anything before you get to the midterm, which will be next week, okay? So that'll be due by Wednesday. And then you have your Critical Approach Journal 4. This is the last journal that we do for short stories. And we will be switching into that Little Norton Reader pretty soon, the other textbook that you have for this class. So if you didn't get that yet, make sure you run out and grab it. For this journal, you need to choose either Hunters in the Snow or Good Man is Hard to Find. And then you have your choice of 3 different types or approaches for analyzing those texts in your journal. You could choose cultural, gender, or psychological. Now remember, chapter 34 in your book goes over what all of those are, and then you also had a PowerPoint that I gave you that provided some leading questions to help you to know what those things were. So read those carefully before you choose. And really, it's up to the story itself as to, you know, what it lends itself toward, and your perspective, what it lends itself toward. If you did not take psychology class, though, don't choose the psychological approach, which requires you to really kind of analyze or diagnose characters within the story. All right, that's due by Friday. And then the next one is a big one. This is an important assignment. It doesn't look like it is very long. This is the assignment sheet for that, and it gives you examples using Eveline, I believe. And so you just can't have the same things that I have for Eveline in my example. If it's leading you too much in a way of thinking about that story, just choose a different story, okay? But pretty much you have about anything that's been assigned in these chapters at your disposal for this assignment. So you don't have to use a Hunters in the Snow or A Good Man is Hard to Find. If you want to do your literary analysis on The Story of an Hour, remember, this assignment is the formalist approach, so it means close reading. We're picking it apart and looking at the strategies and devices that the author is using in order to generate meaning for the reader. So if you want to use that one, you can use that one for this assignment. It's due on Friday. And you'll just follow this text and answering the questions or supplying what it's asking you to on that. If you have questions, please contact me. I should be able to give you some feedback on that to kind of help get you through your essay a little bit easier. All right. I also want to make sure that we know what makes a good thesis and what makes a not so good thesis. So look at the PowerPoint on that. And then my expectations and requirements for this essay also are in the literary analysis conventions. So things like making sure that you use third person, that you don't use I or you or me or even we. The book says sometimes, you know, people do that. No, I'm a traditional grammarian, so no we in this paper either. Okay, and then this attachment, analysis template for paragraph development, it has a template for a thesis that might help you. Feel free to use it as your guide. Make sure that you are developing your paragraphs fully. Because you are writing argument, you really need to provide at least three pieces of evidence in order to prove your point to me in every paragraph. That means you're going to have 3 chunks or 3 times where you lead into your idea after making your claim for the paragraph, and then provide evidence, and then provide your commentary, transition, and then do the same thing again. Transition, do the same thing again. You're going to do that 3 times in order to fully develop your paragraph. That's why we did that character diagram, and that's why I told you to look at feedback on that to make sure you were doing it right. Okay? Because I'm going to be looking for very well-developed thoughts here. Okay? And then lastly, by Sunday, you're going to attach your literary analysis essay. Remember that the page requirements are in that assignment sheet, double spacing, etc. All of that's gone over in that assignment sheet, which is posted here again if you need to refresh your memory. Okay, I hope this video is helpful to you in going over everything you need to be looking at for this week. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Otherwise, I'll be talking to you later this week.